I'll make sure Jesse here.
We're just gonna take a recess. We're gonna take a recess for 5 minutes. Well, we're not even recess. So we'll postpone for 5 minutes. Mike Brown, present. Diane Schultz. Diane Schultz.
Present.
Eddie Georges. Alan Fleming.
Present.
Brett Swanson.
Present.
Marlene Blackburn.
Present.
Robert Thomas.
Present.
Jim Morrison. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anyone that would like to offer communication at this time? There's the negative. This is a special meeting, so we cannot amend the agenda. Can I get a motion though to accept it, to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
There's a motion on the table.
Second.
It's been seconded. Roll call vote. Diane Schultz.
Yes.
Dave Georges. Alan Fleming.
Yes.
Robert Swanson.
Yes.
Marlene Blackburn.
Yes.
Robert Thomas.
Yes.
As Wilson. All right, first item is insurance. And we have from Quorum 2 invoices that come the same. We're looking at auto, general, employment, law, cyber, and public entity risk. The amounts are an aggregate of $14,073 and $12,816, which is $26,889.
As you stated, we need $26,889 for the insurance. At the present time, we have $8,661.87 in the Eagle's Nest. I recommend that we extract $8,000. Let me make a correction here. That we extract $7,589 as opposed to the $8,000 that was initially agreed upon, so that we don't have to worry about the 111 difference. It'll just stay in the Eagle's Nest. And pull that. We have $7,000 in the Bank of Missouri that we need to move over so we can pay for this. And of course, the $7,589 for the Eagle's Nest, which comes to 15. Then we have $12,000 that we can pull from the water sewers account that will meet the demands of the $26,889 that we need to pay for the insurance.
So how much did you want to pull from the Eagles?
From Eagles, when I subtract 111 from 8,000, I get 7,589.
And just for clarification, you want to state all those figures again. So we got the 7,589.
Let me make that correction.
Okay.
7,489.
Okay.
Because I mistook the 6 for the 0.
Okay. And then you said 12,000?
12,000 for the water and sewer.
12,000 for water. Alright. So is it?
Wait a minute, let me get this in, make sure I got it right. Okay. My calculator tells me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So it's 7,889.
Okay, making the correction.
7,889?
Yes. That way we don't have to move the $111 back over from the 8,000.
Understood.
All right.
Okay.
Good thing I got a calculator.
7,889.
Want me to do it again?
Yes.
All right. From Eagle's Nest, we will extract $7,489. Oh, 7,889, I'm sorry. Okay. And then from the Bank of Missouri, we will extract 7,000 and move it over. That will give us 15,000 total, okay? No.
It was 14,889.
All right, 14,889.
Please keep down in the crowd.
So let me repeat this because this is all screwed up. All right, now I got it.
Okay.
All right, 12,000 from water and sewer will bring us to the amount that we owe of the 26,889. And once again, I will repeat, $7,889 extracted from Eagle's Nest, 7,000 from Bank of Missouri, which gives us 14,889, and then the 12,000 from the water and sewer will put us right to the point of the 26,889 that we need to pay the bill.
I recommend that we do pay this because obviously we're not insurance, that puts the city at
And
risk.
it's due, right?
And it is due.
All right.
We were told that.
I make a motion that we pay this insurance bill for the amount of $26,889 and move all assets that we have to the appropriate account to this table.
And you also want to put in your motion to reflect that in the budget?
Yes.
Okay. Can you read back the motion? And we may have to have you clarify, go ahead, read back.
Diane made a motion to
Well, to just pay the insurance.
pay for the insurance. Total Eagles Nest, $7,889 out of Eagles Nest. Out of sewer and water, she wants to take out $12,000 from there. And a total of $7,000 out of the Bank of Missouri, which would be a total of $26,889.
That's correct.
And the budget reflects.
And the budget reflected
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay.
The budget reflect all payments made for this insurance from each account.
Okay, and is there a,
I'll second
there's
that
been
motion.
seconded, roll call vote.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Don Fleming,
Yes.
Chris Swanson,
Yes.
Arlene Blackburn,
Yes.
Robert Thomas.
Yes.
That's 5-0.
And I will also ask the council make a motion to add a new vehicle, a new police vehicle to the inventory and to add it to the insurance at the appropriate time of the city.
I'll make that motion that we add a new police vehicle to the fleet
Okay.
at this time and insurance at a later date.
Okay.
I'll second that.
And there's a motion on the table to be seconded, roll call vote.
And that was a donated vehicle.
Yes, it is donated.
Let's put that on the record for clarification, I believe.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Don Fleming,
Yes.
Chris Swanson,
Yes.
Arlene Blackburn,
Yes.
Robert Thomas.
Yes.
5-0 for adding this vehicle to the insurance.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Gary. Do you want to talk about the vehicle this time or you want to talk about it later, Dave?
That's up to you.
If you want to talk about it this time, I'll give you a couple minutes.
I was notified earlier today, actually, we heard of a vehicle that was available in Osage Beach. It was a Sunrise Beach police vehicle. It was a 2014 Dodge Charger. They originally wanted $8,000 for it, had 99,000 miles and all maintenance records, fully equipped, light bars, everything. Spoke to the citizen who offered a couple months ago to buy us a vehicle for $16,000. He was on board. We were able to purchase the vehicle today for $7,500.
Wonderful.
Round of applause.
Acknowledgement to Mr. Carter for bringing that deal to the
Actually,
city.
I'm not gonna take the credit. It was John Glover.
It was
That
John.
alerted me.
Well, thank him from me. I can speak
They-
on behalf of the whole
But
county.
it might be a good resource. They have other equipment there, like a utility truck. I mean, I'm just thinking about maintenance and other people. But they handle all the options for Camden County, Sunrise Beach, and those cities.
If your donor wanted to give 16,000 and you paid 75, would he be willing to maybe?
It's very possible.
Gary, that's ready to go.
It is completely ready.
We don't have to do any radio.
We would have to
Let's get the, please be recognized to speak, please. Okay, go ahead, Alan. I just want to keep order.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I was just enthusiastic.
I am too. Keep, go ahead.
We would have to reprogram the radio, but that's a very simple fix.
It just ran through my mind because of what different conversations, so that sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yes.
We are having some radio issues. We did radio checks today with Tom Center, with 911 Center. Their solution with the repeater and Crocker is not.
Let's get together offline after,
Okay.
just because it's all about insurance, okay? It's about insurance, but I'm moving on.
I just had a quick question. I know you're transferring money. Eagles Nest, does that close Eagles Nest, or does that leave money in?
No, please, not get into.
Leave money in. The water and sewer, was that the water sewer general account or the reserve?
No, from the general.
Okay, I didn't think.
Okay, everything clarified? Okay, now we are moving on. Transportation ordinance. Transportation ordinance here. If the council would like me to read it, or if there wants to be discussion, please, we'll feel free to start.
I think it should be read.
Do that first. I need a motion to.
I make a motion for the proposed ordinance to be read. I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and second. Go ahead, we'll call vote. Diana Schultz.
Yes.
Don Quinn.
Yes.
Russ Johnson.
Yes.
Arlene Blackburn.
Yes.
Barbara Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passed 5-0. Read the first answer.
Okay. An ordinance amending and updating ordinance 408 dated August 11th, 1997, establishing regulations regarding animals.
No,
I'm sorry. That is a document. Correction. All right. Starting over. An ordinance amending ordinance 336 to allow for the use of transportation sales tax funds to be used for the purchase of equipment. Whereas the City of Dixon previously passed ordinance 361 requesting that the voters approve the city sales tax of 1/2 of 1% for transportation purposes. Whereas the voters of the City of Dixon approved said tax at an election held on November 8th, 1994. Whereas the City of Dixon passed ordinance 336 to ratify the results of the election, whereas Section 4 of Ordinance 366 prohibited the use of funds from being expended for the purchase of equipment, and whereas said restriction was not required by the ballot language of Ordinance 361, and whereas the Board of Aldermen has determined that it is in dire need of a new street vehicle to provide maintenance and repairs to the streets of the city, and whereas the Board of Aldermen has determined that it is in the best interest of the city to use the funds for the transportation sales tax to purchase of equipment. Now therefore, be it ordained by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Dixon as follows. Section 1. That Section 4 of Ordinance 366 is hereby repealed and replaced with the following. There is hereby created and ordered to be established in the Treasury of the City a separate account to be known as the Transportation Account. And said account shall be restricted, and all amounts paid and credited to the account shall be expended and used by the city solely for construction, maintenance, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges within the City of Dixon, Missouri, the acquisition of lands and the rights of way of streets, roads, and bridges, and planning and feasibility studies for streets, roads, and bridges, and the purchase of equipment for streets department. Section 2. Nothing in this ordinance is intended to modify, change, cancel, or add any tax. The purpose of this ordinance is solely to expand the allowed use of the funds already being collected. Section 3. This ordinance shall take effect and be in full force on the effective date that it is passed. Read 2 times. And passed by the Board of Aldermen in the City of Dixon, Missouri, blank, mayor signature block, press, city clerk block. Is there any discussion at this time?
I would just like clarification of the prior ordinance.
I have a letter from the attorney.
So this was a just a general election, or was this a special matter on the ballot in the prior election?
The voters had to approve the sales tax back in 1994. That's that half-cent sales tax you've been collecting for 24 years. The ballot language,
The ballot language, the original
Just said-
ballot language, did it include purchase
It's in
of
the letter.
equipment?
I have a letter for you, if you're right.
it says, shall the City of Dixon impose the city sales tax for the construction, improvement, maintenance of streets, roads, and bridges within the City of Dixon. That's all it said. And then after the voters approved it, and they passed the ordinance adopting voters' approval of the tax, they put a restriction on there that specifically said you cannot use it to purchase equipment.
But the statute itself says that equipment can be purchased.
What statute?
Well, under the
Statutes
ballot.
don't restrict it. What was on the ballot did not restrict it, and the original ordinance putting it on the ballot did not restrict it, and then the city council decided to when they adopted it. I don't know why.
So, for all legal intents and purposes, we can amend that ordinance to add.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
That's what
That's
the
all I
ordinance
wanted to make sure that we are legally in a position to amend that ordinance.
So we can actually.
Because somebody's gonna come back.
One at a time, sorry. Diane started first, go ahead, Diane.
We can actually amend the ballot issue?
It was not, that issue, the restriction of the funds was not put on the ballot.
Okay, so in other words, our ordinance is not restricting for the equipment, but the original Missouri revised is not restricted? Is that what I'm getting from this?
I don't understand your question.
Who's restricting the purchase of
The
equipment?
council did,
It's the
but
ordinance, am I
ordinance-
correct?
Yes.
So we can amend that Dixon ordinance because it was a non-ballot issue, am I correct?
Your question is not correct.
Yeah.
Wait, please, the council's talking.
Okay,
Please
so
raise your hand.
what do you want to say?
You can amend it. There's nothing below.
Without any legal ramifications upon the council or any member that votes, am I correct?
From what I have seen, it's correct, yes. I do
Your
not,
legal advice is,
my legal advice is you can do it.
Has there been enough research done on this to see what the ballot measure was?
The ballot measure, what was given to the people was in the letter I sent the entire council.
So what I'm saying is there's language in the ballot measure that has to coordinate with, I don't understand. Where did this come from for Dixon to come up with this ordinance? Can you answer that question?
When this came up last time, just to brief, I looked up 4 class citizen statements, so I randomly picked 7. Every transportation tax ordinance had the verbiage from 361. And 361 was done in August of '94. Ballot on November, passed in December. When I read this, and believe me, I have an opinion, this was the main thrust of the tax ordinance, which you can find in here. And it's based on chapter 94, 700 to 775. It talks about chapter 144 with a whole list, and it's all based on taxes. And that is very complex. There's a lot of reading in there. So the second one on 366, in my opinion, expounded or added or more clearly defined what the original ordinance, there's more to the ordinance than what it goes on. Does that make any sense? This is a heading. This goes into what
The details.
subhead.
361 was to give it to the voters.
Yes, yes, sir.
Tax. 366 was the council implementing what the
Yes, sir.
voters did. 361 did not restrict it to equipment, and that was added in 366 after the vote.
Right, and I was
And I
trying,
don't have a reason why it was done.
to find if perhaps in 144, it's somewhere hidden
There's no
somewhere.
restriction.
There was a passage like that. Now, I couldn't find that. Now, do we know what the intent was 24 years ago? I'm not sure. Maybe it was so that the funds were used for construction only, or to pay a bond rather than to buy equipment. Maybe at that time, I'm just speculation. At that time, they might have said, well, we're going to buy equipment from some other account. So that's just my 5 years from what I've read.
Thank you, Alan. I'm gonna, go ahead, Robert.
I've got 94.745 of the revised statutes here, which covers cities and towns and villages with a population of 200 and over for transportation fund. Section 1, part of it reads, all monies in such transportation trust fund shall be appropriated and disbursed only for transportation purposes as enumerated in sections 94,700 to 94,755. Does not say anything about vehicles.
Okay, so the question was, this ordinance done under that statute? I mean, is there any reference to?
There's nothing in 94.700 or anything after it that says, if you guys are buying a street vehicle to be used for the maintenance of streets, nothing restricts under chapter 94.
Did you have one, go ahead, Donna, and then,
I had a lot of doubt, I had a lot of questions and stuff. This is why I wanted this stuff like a week ago. So we could look into this even more instead of trying to figure it out and voting. What does it say that we can't wait another week until the 7th and look into this, see what monies we got coming in, and see if we can't pay for it?
good question, and I'll say,
I'm just
those are good questions, Donna, and I'll say, first of all, remember that this is a place for debate. So this is a proper place to debate this stuff. Second, that's a good question, and that's up to the council. Council can decide we need to do this now, council can decide we need to do this later. I will say that we need to understand that right now, we have something like 45 water meters that need to be reread. They currently can't make that happen in a day. In fact, it's going to take quite a while, several days, if not more than a week, to really make that happen, because they don't have the capability to make this happen. That's just one instance. Another issue is if we don't have it right now, thank goodness, but if snow hits, how are we laying the ice in? We have shovels in a bucket, so that means people can walk down the roads. I don't think it'll be very effective. But just understand that that's where we're at. We're at where we don't have the equipment to clear roads to lay the ice. That is where we're at. Does that mean that we have to go tonight? No, that means that the council will just please understand where we're at. We have to weigh all the options. This is what this debate's for, and they're all good questions. Good questions and good points.
I actually would like to table this item until we do some further research, because there's too much verbiage that's out there that's not coordinated. Okay, I'm getting his opinion, this one, and it all sounds different to me.
Well, I think we should rely on the opinion of an attorney that's there to interpret laws.
What I'm saying is I give him the opportunity to do a little bit more research and see if you can find anything else that
I think
might complicate this.
have you conducted other research?
Did you guys not get the letter I sent December 20th explaining
Yes.
everything? You did or you did not get
Yes,
it?
right now we got it.
What
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you.
I don't know what's wrong with
Everybody else
research.
has opinions and their thoughts, but he gets paid, and he's gone to school for what he's done, and what he's doing for us.
But in no means does that mean I want the council we need to continue this debate for a little bit longer, I think.
I'm just not
And
feeling
ask the
good about
questions.
this.
Okay.
I'm serious, I'm just not feeling good about it. And I think it's because there's just so much controversy about this and so much going on that it puts some speculation on as far as, and I understand, Jeff, that you are the attorney and stuff, and I respect that.
Well, I just don't want you to pin it on me, so I don't know what.
No, I mean,
What I'm worried about is sanctions coming now in a week or two, because someone did something out of something.
I cannot find any reason
Oh,
other
it's
than
always
the
there,
city's
but it's not
decision
always there.
to restrict the use of those funds. There was nothing in the ballot language. I can't find a statute that says you can't use it to spend it on equipment. You are going to have maintenance. You have to have equipment to do the maintenance, especially in this day and age.
And this will be registered as a street vehicle, specifically as a street vehicle. Well, I extract that.
So, I have a question.
Go ahead,
Jess. scenario, Jeff, if something was to happen between now and the 7th, when we just maybe get some money to buy this outright, and somebody's injured on ice somewhere because we need to get salt down or we need to get roads, what's the worst case scenario?
You know, you guys have that risk every time it snows, you normally
Sure.
have salt down or it comes in the middle of the night, but I mean,
But if there had been no effort, because we couldn't,
then your risk is higher.
thank you,
So the city,
So it's catch-22.
as always.
in a sense, except for where it does appear that council could amend the ordinance to expand the scope.
Well, based on the advice and the research of our city attorney, I may be been premature here, but I don't think restricting the transportation sales tax fund is in the city's best interest. And I would like to make a motion to amend that transportation sales tax fund to include expenditures for equipment.
I will second that motion.
Can I get that motion?
I drafted the ordinance that you just read to accomplish that, but you can't just do it by motion.
Okay, I asked.
But, I mean, let me comment, you guys,
Just withdraw the motion. Can you, Barbara, can you withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw my motion at this time.
you guys, the ordinance that was drafted, 366, because I'm pretty sure we sat here, it restricted, you could not buy, this was restricted really just for construction. I know this has been used for other purposes, but it says, no funds may be expended for ordinary maintenance on the streets, roads, and bridges such as pothole repair, chat, cold mix, associated cost of labor, nor shall funds be expended for purchase of equipment to accomplish the authorized expenditures herein.
Well, I know it's been for that.
Yes, you did.
Not during this administration, but prior.
But that's, I mean, by the bills and the invoices for just the asphalt that they fill the holes with. Remember, they borrowed the roller from Pulaski County? So I know those monies were expended.
And what I'm getting at is, if you leave that in place, what are you collecting this for other than
To build it?
to build the roads we already have? Are we going to expand them? I mean, that's where you're at with the tax the way it sits now. You can use it for nothing but building new roads, basically, is the way it is. You can't even use it to go out and fix the roads you have or the other issues.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
It's kind of crazy that you can't use it to go buy your salt.
I mean, we
No,
can't
it's not what's happening.
pay electric.
So you're, hold on, let the council finish, please.
It's ridiculous. We can't pay the electric bill, but we've got money that sits there that can provide our city with equipment during inclement weather and to provide reliable transportation. It seems
It also enables the city to
Crazy to
continue to
me.
make money, because until the meters are read, how can they be charged correctly? So they need to go read the meters.
and they have to have a vehicle to do that.
Also, it lowers our risk. I don't think that our risk management would care for the fact that we can say, oh, we
All it
can't.
takes is someone walking across an ice or snowy road, slip and fall, break their hip or their leg,
My guess is
and the
they'll ask,
city's stuck with a potential lawsuit.
And it would happen.
And it would happen.
they'll probably ask, did you do anything? And if you say, we don't even have the equipment to do it.
Okay, can I make a motion for a second reading?
Yes.
I make a motion for a second reading.
I'll second it.
There's some, and if you all don't mind, there's some questions I'll take on the crowd after the second reading.
Okay?
Okay, in order, oh yeah, roll call, there's a motion to read the ordinance.
Second
Enter
reading.
ordinance a second time, is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been seconded, roll call vote.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Don Fleming,
Yes.
Chris Swanson,
Yes.
Marlene Pepper,
Yes.
Robert Thomas.
Yes.
As a 5-0 for second reading, sir.
An ordinance amending ordinance 366 to allow for the use of transportation sales tax funds to be used for purchasing equipment. Whereas the city of Dixon previously passed ordinance 361 requesting that voters approve a city sales tax of 1/2% for transportation purposes. Whereas the voters of the city of Dixon approved said said tax at an election held on November 8th, 1994. Whereas the City of Dixon passed ordinance 366 to ratify the results of the election, whereas Section 4 of ordinance 366 prohibited the use of funds from being expended for the purchase of equipment. And whereas that restriction was not required by the ballot language of ordinance 361, and whereas the Board of Aldermen has determined that it is in dire need of new street vehicles to provide maintenance and repairs to the streets of the city, and whereas the Board of Aldermen has determined that the best interest of the city to use the funds from the transportation sales tax equipment. Now therefore be ordained by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Dixon as follows. Section 1. In Section 4 of the ordinance 366 is hereby repealed and replaced with the following. There is hereby created an order to be established in the Treasury of the City a separate account known as a transportation account, and said accounts to be restricted, and all amounts paid and credited to the account shall be expended in the use of the city solely for construction, maintenance, and repair of streets, roads, and bridges within the City of Dixon, Missouri, and the acquisition of lands and rights of the way of streets, roads, and bridges, and the planning of feasible studies for streets, roads, bridges, and the purchase of equipment for the streets department. Section 2. Nothing in this ordinance is intended to modify, change, cancel, or add to any tax. The purpose of this ordinance is solely to expand the allowed use of funds already being collected. This ordinance shall take effect and be in full force effective on the date of this passage. Read 2 times to pass by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Dixon, Missouri, this blank day of blank 2000 blank mayor, not signed yet, blank test, as a clerk, blank signed.
Is there anything that says that a portion of that monies cannot be spent for road improvement other than repaving, resurfacing?
Are you talking about the ordinance as it stands now? Or
Right.
the one that you just read?
The ordinance as it stands now was just specifically for resurfacing streets, right? That's
The ordinance as it reads now makes very little sense to me. It is basically what you just read that would be replaced. There's hereby created order. The only other change was I removed it. R to what it is for the city. But anyway, it says account shall be restricted, all amounts being credited to construction and repair of the streets, roads, and bridges within the City of Dixon, the acquisition of lands, rights, ways for streets, roads, and bridges, planning, feasibility studies for streets, roads, and bridges. But then there's the clause at the end of that, right now, this basically removes it, says, however, no funds may be expended for ordinary maintenance on streets, roads, and bridges, such as pothole repair, chat, coal mix, and associated costs of labor, nor shall funds be used for the purchase of equipment. I don't know what ordinary maintenance is. I mean, it doesn't define what ordinary maintenance is anywhere. Does that mean resurfacing? Is that ordinary maintenance, or is that extraordinary maintenance? I mean, that's kind of...
I would think ordinary maintenance would be inclusive of repairing potholes.
So it specifically says not potholes.
So when it's like, no
What's left for the city to maintain?
when they talk, at the annual conference, when they talk about ordinary maintenance, people didn't want to hire at prevailing wage outside of ordinary maintenance. Ordinary maintenance was so small, you couldn't even repaint your water tower. That was considered like new construction for whatever reason. And then they got into that change or whatever. But I think ordinary maintenance is a pretty restrictive, at least the way I understood it when it was told to me, ordinary maintenance means pretty restrictive. There's some comments from the, before I go crowd, is there any other comments from the table?
No, I just want to hear from them.
Okay, go ahead, Al.
For instance, dumpster. Now, to me, could be wrong, I think that could come under the heading of transportation tax. If you're gonna have to tear that out, to me, that would be major construction, not just repair. Something like that. Something like that. That could be done. We were talking about getting an engineer, feasibility study, having that done with a contractor. So to me, something like that, I think would apply. The other key thing, from what I understand, the transportation tax fund can be used to pay the street bond. You're gonna have to pay the street bond out of some money, somewhere, somehow. Now, you're getting 0.5%, I think you figured back in September, 81,000. I think that's 78,000, something like that. Sure, you don't have it all, but if you don't pay it out of the transportation tax, it'll have to come out of general revenue somehow, So that's something to think about.
Good points. Any other comments from the crowd?
Courtney, you're the one who texted me yesterday, making a comment about this
Well,
ordinance and stuff.
I
I want to hear from you.
just think you need to be very careful with your spending. I understand your problem. And it's true, you can't take out that special to pay your bond. You can't take out a special account to pay your street bond. I think you're gonna run into trouble with the Hancock amendment on amending that special election. I don't know, I'm not an attorney, but I was told today by an attorney that it was fired up from the Hancock amendment. Now, I don't know, you have an attorney there that's the expert, I'm not. I was just told that by an attorney.
Okay. Further comments before, okay, go ahead.
I got one more. Take this a step further. You pass it, you buy the $17,000 truck. In my mind, you're not done spending money. Because I don't think what you've got will be transferable to that truck without some modification. And it could be anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 additional. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
Well, I was told that the snowplow could hook right up to it.
It won't
That
work.
it's already, it's got, what do you mean it won't fit?
It won't work.
How do you know?
Because I have a snow plow. And they got different widths. That plow on that truck that was bought through a grant is supposed to still be in operation today through the USDA. That's a requirement that this city is signed to. It's still supposed to be in operation today. That plow is too big for a 3/4 ton truck. It'll never hold it up. And that's hydraulic. Your truck plows are going to be electronic with hydraulic override. Won't fit.
Okay, any other comments? We're gonna take a 5-minute break at this point, recess. And there's discussion of trucks, so there are separate issues. Josh is here for a minute, he's on the middle of the water issue, so he can briefly answer some questions if the council has any questions.
Yes, Josh?
Yes.
Would you step forward? Do you mind me using your name?
No,
Mr. Carter brought to my attention and stated that the plow that we have in the city would not just hook on to that truck as well as the spreader. Is that true?
The spreader will not fit on a truck, and the truck probably ain't big enough to push the plow either.
Will the dump truck push it?
Okay.
It's on the ground, it's a dump truck.
But the dump truck needs brakes.
Is that all it needs?
Is the dump truck a streets vehicle?
Okay, that answered my question unless any other council members have questions.
Thanks, Josh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Questions from the audience?
Yeah, Josh,
Yeah.
how bad off is that truck? What you have, the spreader and
The dump truck,
what's wrong with it?
brakes,
Okay, you got any idea on brakes?
that's what we do.
Just drop the
I'm serious, you know.
We're looking at master cylinder, front calipers, back drums scratched. So I think it's close to 550, something like that, pretty close to it.
And when you get in the fix? Sorry.
Okay,
So, all right, so, go ahead.
In the event that, well, due to the fact that the dump truck does need these brake repairs, if we amend 366, that money cannot be used for those repairs because that is a street vehicle. Am I correct?
To my understanding, it's zoning that says,
Am I good to go?
the amendment of 66 would just be for the purchase of equipment.
But not the maintenance.
But the verbiage stays the same as far as not using it for
Right,
repairs or anything.
That's
But,
it.
okay, that answers my question.
purchase of equipment.
right.
So repairs, no, you have to.
But
Repair
it
for
would have to come out of
that.
general, which we're looking at $500 to $600 probably. It's a lot better than $17,000.
You got it going.
So, let me ask this question. So if we vote to amend that ordinance later on for a vehicle, we should need one.
That's
That's
right.
already set in place.
That's exactly right, because the
So
ordinance in the
then we can
truck is
turn
a separate possibility of purchase if we're in a dire situation.
So,
And
my caveat to that is, wouldn't it be better to have the verbiage in here that the funds can also be used to maintain the vehicles, so we're not in a situation where our vehicles are in such poor shape that, because we don't have the funds to maintain them, so we just buy new
But
vehicles instead.
was that presented on the ballot to the voters to vote on?
Ballot
Jeff, can we amend and add more to that ordinance if that wasn't presented to the voters on that ballot?
Presented to,
No.
yes, what was presented to the, was maintenance, repairs, construction of the streets.
It says maintenance of streets, roads, and bridges within the Dixon, city of Dixon. So the tax for transportation purposes, i.e., so just list some of them for the construction, improvement, and maintenance of streets, roads, and bridges within the city of Dixon, Missouri. Without equipment and maintaining equipment, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, so that's my logic, or line of logic is we can use the funds to purchase new, wouldn't we be able to, same line of logic, use the funds to maintain? So the ordinance would have to be rewritten to reflect using the funds to allow.
Right.
So we're not spending 17.5 on a vehicle, we're just spending, we're using these funds to do $600.
Well, yes.
But my question
Vehicles
is,
aside, look at the ordinance overall, like how does the ordinance apply to each fund?
I understand, but the question is, the ballot that was presented to the voters says, shall the city of Dixon, Missouri impose a city sales tax of 1/2 of 1% for transportation purposes, i.e., for the construction, improvement, and maintenance of streets, roads, and bridges within the city of Dixon, Missouri. That was all the ballot said. So I'm saying, if we amend this ordinance, can we go to the extent of amending it to buy equipment, to maintain equipment, to make repairs to our streets and roads? Can we add those 3 clauses in there to provide for uniforms as part of street? Can we do that?
Can I add something? After all, this is being used to be paid for on a roads bond. Okay, so we got to be careful what we do here.
This is not the bond.
This is not the bond.
Now, the bond, you can impose a personal property tax to pay for the bond.
Okay. Okay.
So if we have this rewritten to add for maintenance of
Equipment
vehicles and
maintenance.
everything else, we can vote on this on the 7th, and then we're covered with everything within that we do for the vehicles.
Guys, my only comment, they obviously put this clause in there about not spending it on this and that. So it wanted to become some type of slush fund to go out and spend whatever you want.
Okay,
All I'm telling you from a legal perspective is these restrictions were imposed by the council. I can't find any legal reason we can't expand those funds so long as it still falls within the ballot language that we've given to voters. And the restrictions in chapter 94.700 are not nearly as severe as what the council in 1996 decided to impose on the use of these funds. But
But if we had checks and balances,
Marlene, go ahead.
I just have a comment, and that is, we don't know, I think Jeff said it a little while ago, we don't know what they were thinking back in 1994, 96, whenever it was, and all this happened. He also said that what is it, 366 is like, it's all over the place. So it's not gonna hurt for us to tighten up and add more stuff to it, so that there is no room for people not knowing what
What
the
it's
interpretation of it. Every one of us probably has their own interpretation of what this thing says.
That feeds into Donna's point of balance, is correct?
right?
Okay.
to that, to purchase equipment, equipment maintenance, street repairs, uniforms, and supplies. Because, you know, these street guys are out in the summertime and they're weed eating or doing whatever. There's weed or string that's needed. You know, they'll need the reflective vest. Last year I bought them that because nobody had any. So I think we should,
Barbara, can you state your list again?
I propose for equipment purchase, equipment maintenance and repairs, street repairs, uniforms and supplies.
I have a comment to that.
Go ahead.
I guess my comment to that would be, I agree with Barbara, but I would also like to see a cap put on that, so it goes only just so far into the budget, and then you can't take out any more, because we don't want all the money to go up, is that right?
That's true, but it would require council approval on any of that. Do you
My only other
understand?
comment is, I believe this fund for the last 7 years has been used to pay the bond payments that come due on street fund.
See, that was my interpretation of this.
But
That was the initial, I thought that was the initial purpose of this.
they're supposed to be collected part of our property tax, and the bonding ordinance is, there's specific tax levy to cover the cost of that, is where that money is supposed to come from. That money is not been making the bond payments because they need to do this instead.
Go ahead, Donna, we have some comments after. Go ahead.
I still have a question, because we're still one truck down, because Josh
Okay, so,
is using his truck.
no,
No?
and that's what we're gonna stop to.
Okay.
And that's why I let everybody know, like, there are water meter readers that are currently not being read because they don't have the vehicles to go do them.
I think we need to amend this ordinance to add that. Then we need to move on and make a motion to have that truck repaired that's got the brake problems, the dump problem.
Okay.
Because we were gonna transfer, according to what Diane proposed, X amount out of GR anyway for that, so I can't anticipate that we don't have $600 to get that fixed ASAP.
We did that, we got, probably allocate for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we had two trucks, a little Ford Ranger, and then there was another
So the Ford
bigger
Ranger,
truck.
The dump truck.
water truck.
The water truck.
The water truck does not currently work, the transmission is out. They tried to swap one, but it wouldn't match up. So the water truck is a different issue, but so we need to have a streets vehicle, we need to have a water truck, we need to have a dump truck. I mean, and then we have the Ranger, just, I don't know how long
Okay,
that's
so
going.
as far as the regular size truck goes, just like with the dump truck, can it not be fixed at a reasonable?
The water truck?
Yes.
Well, see, and I think that's where we as the council, and I'm not discrediting Josh, but I have taken him at face value what he says, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus here, but when I talked to him the other night, he said the plow had gone to the spreader. Did he explain that to you all too?
Well, he said it covered.
Yeah. You know, so, and then,
I agree there needing to be some modifications, but not great.
but that wasn't told to me. And I looked at the truck and he was explaining to me, plow fit right up on it, the spreader, and we're ready to roll. So I think at this point, rather than, if Josh comes to us with a problem, I think it's in our best interest to have an outside source look at that problem and give the council an opinion as to what the repair would entail, or if it even could be repaired, and a cost
So
estimate.
I just want everyone to be very clear. I said that there was a problem, there no is these personal vehicles. And because there was a lack of vehicles, I said, Josh, please look around for some vehicles. This was simply an option, and it was actually not even going to be presented until the 7th. and when there was many other options.
Well, I asked Josh about his vehicle, if it was in good mechanical shape, and he said yes. And I said, well, would you maybe consider the city purchasing your vehicle? Of course, I want it looked at by a mechanic to ensure that it is, mechanically sound, but, we just can't go out there and spend $17,000 that was presented to us on a vehicle when I find out that it's a brake problem. I mean, come on.
It's not being asked of the council to, this is not that the council has to purchase this truck. This is, there's two separate issues here. We have the issue of the transportation fund, and we have the issue that there's not a vehicle to do snow stuff. This was simply mentioned, and it's not necessarily.
But isn't the plow and the spreader hooked to the dump truck?
Yes, if that's going to be the option that.
And the problem with that dump truck is brakes?
Yes.
That's it.
All right, I don't need to talk about it anymore, my mind's set.
But I want the council to understand that all of this, the information is trying to be provided. This is not, this wasn't coming here to purchase a truck. There's several issues again. The issue with the ordinance, the issue is not purchasing the truck. The issue is there's not a vehicle to do snow removal services. What the answer to that is, I don't know. Maybe it's a dump truck, maybe it's a new truck, maybe it's some people on horses. I don't know.
Mayor, you know as well as I do, it's not a new truck. You know that as well as I do, it's not a new truck, it's a brake issue. That can be fixed for a few $100. Maybe.
That's just an observation of the maintenance. We actually need a mechanic to look at the vehicle itself and determine the extent of what needs to be done. And in the process of doing so, maybe we can even do like a tune-up process to it too. Reassure us of the fact that
That's
we'll be
why-
ready when the weather comes.
Right, and
Because
that's
what
why I
was the
think
date come?
we should have someone independently look at it and report back to the council of their findings, what needs to be there, what the problems are.
And in that sense, we've got about $3,982.03 in general that we may be able to use a portion of that to.
So let's finish up with the ordinance first.
Okay.
If we're going to table that, then there should be a motion to table.
Well, I would like to make a motion that the ordinance be amended to provide for the purchase of equipment or equipment maintenance.
You mean the bill being amended? It's not-
Yes.
It's not an ordinance.
Right, the bill be amended. Street repairs, uniform and supplies with council approval.
One second. We need to attend this one night.
So if there's a problem and Josh or any of the street crew come to us and say, we need this, the council, he would present it before the council, and we at that time would vote as to whether it be repaired, whether we get a second opinion, or whatever. It isn't just free rein to spend and then bring us an invoice. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It hasn't. Yes, do you want to restate your motion? So that Jesse.
Yes. I make a motion that we amend the bill to add purchase of equipment, equipment maintenance and repairs, street repairs, uniforms, and supplies.
I'll second that motion.
The motion on the table has been seconded, roll call vote.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Donald Flynn,
Yes.
Chris Swanson,
Yes.
Arlene Buckler,
Yes.
Robert Thomas.
Yes.
That's 5-0, sir.
All right, we're moving on to the next thing on the agenda. As you know, it says street operations, and that's because problem is that the street, as Darwin said earlier, we don't have the ability to do snow removal right now. What the answer is, I don't care if it's a truck, I don't care if it's horses, I don't care if it's people out in shovels. We're all aware of the problem. The maintenance problem is told, maintenance cars are told several times about their issues. So I pass the problem up to you all, and you let me know if you want to table it, if you want to fix, if you want something purchased.
So how many trucks are down? Just the,
The only truck that they're driving around, what they should be driving around is the Ranger. Until the brakes are fixed on the dump truck, they should not be using it. The water truck doesn't work, the transmission was not able to fit into the other transmission. We have like 5 vehicles sitting over dead over by the old maintenance, maybe 4. Old vehicles that don't work.
I think we should use someone local to look at the truck and,
The dump truck?
yep,
Okay.
to look at the dump truck and see what repairs are needed to get it operational.
I agree. I mean, if we can repair what we've got, we're saving ourselves,
Time
You
and
want
time and money.
to go ahead and authorize to spend up to an amount, so that they can, if they say we can do this for $600, then they go ahead and start getting it fixed. Because the next meeting won't be until 7.
I said we had 3,982.
You know, even if we spent $1,000, that would cover any other matters.
Let me give you the amount for the general fund, and then we can leave it in there, okay?
3,000?
It's 3,000, I want to give you the exact amount, $3,982.03, okay? At to date, okay? This is after we pay this. Okay?
Okay.
So, I suggest no more than 1,000.
I agree with you, but I think we need to make it 1,000 to cover any potential other repairs that need major parts. I make a motion that we limit the expenditure for repairs on the dump truck to $1,000.
I said that.
Okay, the motion on the table, $10,000 to fix the dump truck, and seconded, roll call vote.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Al Fleming,
Yes.
Ms. Swanson,
Yes.
Marlene Becker,
Yes.
Robert Thomas,
Yes.
that's 5-0, spending no more than $1,000 to fix this truck.
All right, next thing on the item on the agenda is the ordinance for the dog pound, an ordinance amending and updating ordinance 408 dated August 1997. This is for establishing regulations regarding animals federal to the city limits of Missouri. This is on here for informational purposes, if you want to read it. Donna, would you like to talk about that?
I'm the head of the dog pound. First I want to put out a thank you to Tri-Owner for donating the door for dog pound. I want to thank Diane Schultz for donating the epoxy for the floor. There was a person who donated the rest of the money up to, between the door, the epoxy, and what this person donated, came to $1,000 roughly to get our dog pound up and going. Our dog pound as of right now is a kill dog pound. I want to change it to a no kill. For the simple fact is that for a kill dog pound, we get no help. We get nothing. We can't get grants. We can't get donations. We have no sources to pull from. We can't pull money from the city because the city has none. So we look at donations. It's very hard to get donations for a dog pound that is a kill pound. I want to change it to a no-kill, to just a shelter. We've been working with Crocker with Brittany down there, and she has given us a lot of resources. She has given us things to start out, leashes, everything to start out. We have dog food. We are starting to look into getting donations for chipping dogs and everything else. And Robert, thanks to Robert, he has amended and updated this ordinance, and I've had Jeff look it over. And that's what we want to vote on the 7th, is to change it to a shelter instead of a no-kill, or a kill shelter. I don't want to.
Also, if we're a kill shelter, the other shelters will not house any of the animals on an overflow if we have an overflow. So we're actually cutting our own throats.
Yes. As of right now, Lebanon is a kill shelter, and they get no aid whatsoever. They don't get anything. They even, if they get a dog in on a Thursday, they find a dog on a Thursday, it'll go down that Friday. That's Friday.
That next day?
Yeah, the next day. And I really don't feel that a dog should be punished because their master doesn't want them anymore and has just dropped them off. It's not fair to the dog. I'm sorry.
You're right.
But, so, on the 7th, look this over, I've given you, look it over. This is what we'll be voting on the 7th. Okay? That's all I have.
All right, thank you. This, you'll see this on the 7th. Next we have payroll. Diane?
Lord.
Recess real quick?
Yeah.
All right, 5-minute recess. Back in 6. Diane?
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Out of general, well, let's go here first. This is Mary's County Bank. Water and sewer removed $23,892.15 to the general account. The general account already had existing $9,059.06, which came to a total of $32,951.21. We extracted $28,969.18 to meet payroll, which left us a balance of $3,982.03 minus $1,000 for the truck to be, the dump truck to be repaired, left us with a balance in general of $2,982.03.
Thanks, Diane.
Yep.
Okay. We just need a motion to approve payroll.
I make that motion.
And there's a motion to approve payroll.
I second the
Been
motion.
seconded, roll call vote.
Diane Schultz,
Yes.
Louise,
Yes.
Chris Moore,
Yes.
Ellen Becker,
Yes.
Paula Thomas.
Yes.
And 5-0.
Please need a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting. Show, second. Is there a second? Been seconded, show of hands. It appears unanimous, we're adjourned. For everybody who would like to see, there is a, right up there in the street, there's a major sewer disaster that Hayden wants to explain what's going on. Yeah, we realize.
By the way,